Well, ladies and gentlemen, good evening, everybody, and welcome to our continuing coverage of the 7th annual Super Smash TV tournament here on GG Speedruns. Tonight, we have got a third round second chance matchup between Skunky48 and Sigmafan. Hi, everyone. I'm LOZ Cards Fan 23, and joining me on the commentary tonight, the one and only two-time defending champion, Brisulph. How you doing tonight?
A little tired, feeling a little stressed out, but looking forward to some Super Smash TV easy percent action here. We've got two beauties coming at you tonight.
Absolutely. And you look at their two PBs, we're talking less than a second difference, 7/10 of a second to be precise. We've got the 11th place runner, Skunky48, who's at a 531.566 versus the number 12 runner, Sigmafan, 532.267. On paper, this anticipates to be what you like to call a slobber knocker.
Well, certainly does, draw out that way. It's kind of interesting how the two get here to such similar times, one with more experience than the other, one with a meteoric rise last year, but haven't really seen too much out of Skunky in this tournament since that PB, and Sigma's been kind of plateaued as well, so maybe we'll see that sub 530 from one of our runners tonight in this very matchup.
How cool would that be, Brisulph? And I'll tell you what, speaking of cool things, for those of you who may have not been with us this weekend, we have a new bronze medalist on the podium for the easy percent time. We've got Tetsuo posting a 520, which kind of begs the question, who do you think is going to be the third member of our 5-1X club, Brisulph?
I mean, there are several runners that could do it. If I had to pick a name and you said this person's going to do it next, become that third person, I'd personally bet on 40-watt range, been putting in the work, putting in the reps. And when you get down to that level, unless you have that one magical run, you need to put the reps in.
Oh, absolutely. And I look at this list here. Guys like Telio, Aquas, Oopla, even one of our rookie stars, Hefe Man, could be in the 5-1X, but I got a hunch. I just got a hunch. I think it's going to be RNGesus.
Well, RNGesus has been putting a little more work in lately, maybe doing some other things along the way. Honestly, I think the bigger, more interesting event that is, just in the offing, banging around in the clouds, ominous rumblings, if you will. I think you're going to see a new normal percent world record before you see the next 5-1X run.
Oh, you may be right. I have seen CHX42 put in a lot of work so far in normal percent, and he had a pace that was 15 seconds ahead of world record going into the Evil MC, but Evil MC did Evil MC things, and you are quite familiar with that with all the times you were on sub 40 pace going into that fight when you were on your grind.
But enough about such frivolities. We are underway here. Cards, it's a best of 5. Losers going home. Winner advances to the next round. And this looks like a heck of a good opener from Skunky. A little slower. Well, you know what? It's going to be close, but it is going to be Skunky with a 39 versus about, a 42?
That's about a 2.5 second advantage for Skunky48 going into collect power-ups there. So let's see what the first drop is going to be for both of our runners. Grenades for Skunky, nothing too hot there. Meanwhile, Sigmafan will get a nuke, so nothing to write home about for either player.
Yeah, Sigma will often ignore those drops in the first room and just let them play out. There's a risk reward to chasing. Gets a razor field there. Razor shield, not a razor field. Razor shield on the feet. No one really get anything too great yet, though, Cards.
Yeah, they're just not getting the weapons. Well, speaking of which, Sigmafan gets our first orb, and hey, Skunky picking up some vitamin R, so a couple of great drops back-to-back, and then, not to be outdone, Skunky gets an orb of his own and is going to finish the room first with a 126, but Sigmafan is right there with a 129, about a 3-second advantage going into Eat My Shrapnel. You know the drill. There are 18 of the Mr. Shrapnels that we have to take out, but a maximum of 4 can be on the screen at any given point. And if that happens, that's when you start to bleed time.
Very much so. It's about a 42.5 second room. You're not really going to gain any, but you sure as heck can drop it. I gotta say, thus far, I know only 2 minutes of game action to compare, but right now, Skunky looking a little more smooth out there, a little more on point for aim and shots. So we'll see if that carries on, but both well in this opening race.
And Sigmafan's going to have rockets to close out the room. A 209, a Sigmafan with a 212. So maintaining that 3-second advantage is Skunky, but Sigma with all of the rockets to start total carnage. I want to see the weapons. Oh, but Sigma, a mistake.
Big mistake from Sigma. Not what you want to see there, Cards. Like I said, things have looked a little crisper on the left versus the right, and showing there with an early move. And now Sigma gets clubbed down. This has been a disastrous start to total carnage.
Yeah, you could attribute it to match jitters or whatnot, but yeah, Sigmafan definitely not off to the great start that you would expect to see from her. Skunky not really getting any weapons after the start here, just doing a good job holding control of the middle of the room, but not getting any weapons to expedite.
No, but you know what? If it's clean play in this room, you can get about a 50 to 52 seconds with clean firing lanes if you're really on with them. I see Sigma has rejoined the Orb Club here, but that time bleed's going to be real.
Ooh, Skunky got that just in the nick of time, that shrapnel down to get a 309 out of total carnage. Sigma, meanwhile, the spreader may be enough to finish off the room. Not quite, just to take down one more of the Mr. Shrapnel, and she does so, but that time lead for Skunky just quintupled to 15 seconds.
Yeah, that orb drop early really hurting Sigma. It's a 15-second lead, and let's see what Skunky's going to get to open up. We have got a foot in a bad location. I wonder, yep, Skunky's just going to ignore it. Looks like good call.
Yeah, not going to fish for another drop. Wants to keep control of the middle. Is going to have to dance around with that gunner on the right side, but doing a good job keeping that orb healthy. Some good crisp movements. Not a good weapon for Sigma either. It's also a foot to start, but does
Nice
get a nuke.
Very nice. You like to see that nuke. Got the second gunner, so slight advantage here for Sigma. Let's see if she can take advantage and get some time back.
Ooh, a nuke on the feet will take care of that tank right there. Keep control of the middle of the room for the time being. That second gunner still on the wall for Skunky48, trying to finish it off from the corner there, and does so.
Yeah, really struggling with that gunner. Some good movement to kill. Oh, as I say, it finally loses the orb, but had been dancing it in and amongst all those swarmers. I see Sigma drops the orb, but gets a replacement.
Another replacement there for Sigma, and Skunky, that shrapnel is going to be a little bit of a time penalty there. Nice nuke there for Sigma. 436 for Skunky. Rockets to close the room for Sigma, and she is caught up.
100%. She was in the middle the whole time. Skunky struggled with that. Oh, but she missed the shrapnel, so that's going to negate a lot of that advantage. You got
1 second.
You got to hate when those shrapnels hide behind the extra live counters.
Yeah, because she would have been like within 9 seconds. And look at this.
Look at this for Skunky. Came in with this run. Now with a vulnerability, this is going to be a double. This could be, could we see the full chest? We might see the full green chest here. Let's see. Yeah, no, it's not. It did not spawn that way.
No dice, but still a lot of forms down there for Skunky. As another spreader trying to do manuals, finally gets picked off by the gunner, but is already on the penultimate form and gets another.
You know what? If Sigma was going to have a bad race, this was the Mutoid to run into. We're on final form here on Skunky's side.
And both gunners are still attached to Mutoid Man in the final form. You don't see that every day there, Brisulph. Gonna try to finish it off with the rockets as both of the gunners are finally done. Skunky might get a no, not gonna get a sub 6 now after getting run over by that humongous hitbox on the final form.
Yeah, it extends a little above where you visually see it, and let's see how close was Mutoid to dying. Yeah, those rockets would have got it done. It's going to be a Skunky victory here in the opening salvo. Will Mutoid grind? No, getting a Skunky break here. What is it going to be, about a 606 it appears? 607?
606, so that ended up being, 90, 100 second fight? Very nice.
Yeah, another one of that, sub 100, and honestly, with a couple sloppy deaths at the end, dropping it, or rather increasing it, it probably was a sub 90 with the drops if it had been played a little better. So Sigma goes down in the opening race here. Skunky up 1-0. Let's see if Sigma could rebound and get a better play. Oh, Sigma getting a little bit of crits there potentially.
Yeah, final form. The lobber should finish it off there for Sigmafan. But yeah, that arena gameplay there from Skunky and some really good drops to start the Mutoid Man fight definitely rode Skunky to victory here in game number 1.
Very much so, and Sigma's going to need to rebound. Often in tournament play has these propensity to kind of let bad things snowball out of control in previous tournaments. Let's see if Sigma has learned how to deal with such things, and even this matchup at 1.
Yeah, definitely right there. Sigma, she's going to have to clean up her arena gameplay here because you don't want to be going down going into the Mutoid Man fight. I mean, it didn't help Sigma's cause that Skunky just got the absolute goods for that fight, but you want to have a lead going into Mutoid Man fight. You don't want to be relying on bad RNG on your opponent's side.
Speaking of RNG, make sure you watch, Game Show Gumbo on YouTube, a series that Sigmafan creates and posts there. So maybe drop a follow and check it out if you like your game shows.
Absolutely. She's been at it for a really long time. It's a channel that I check out from time to time myself. So yeah, definitely checking out. I agree 100%. But let's see if Sigmafan can equalize here in game number 2, or if Skunky can put a stranglehold onto this 3rd round bonus bracket matchup.
Well, getting that 2-0 lead would be huge. It's still best of 5 at the moment. We'll be switching to best of 7 soon enough. But for now, Sigma is 1/3 of the way to dropping out of the tournament, and Skunky 1/3 of the way to advancing to the next round.
And correct me if I'm wrong, this would be the money rounds if one of these 2 runners should advance.
In a manner of speaking, this year's a little different because the prize pool is slightly changed, but we'll be getting to that once this round 3 in the second chance is over. We're underway here, Cards.
Oh, we most certainly are indeed. They both have their razor shield manipulation. Wisely avoiding the nuke there is Sigma. Skunky might use this to advantage to close out the room and does not.
Could not reach it. A bit of a maybe experience mistake there from Skunky, not realizing that was out of reach.
And because of that, Sigma is going to have the hole shot by about a half a second.
Well, Sigma not having great opening room play in Arena 1. Let's see if Sigma again gets the orb first. They didn't get great drops really off the hop last time. Foot versus invulnerability. Pair that together, that's an all right set.
Well, it's a back-to-back drops for the same runners. Skunky getting back-to-back feet. Sigma getting back-to-back now invulnerabilities.
I mean, you can make that invulnerability work for yourself. And here's orbs for both. Sigma, nice job to get that. Had to back off for a second, no problem, had the time. Meanwhile, Skunky is riding insanely good back half drops here, Cards.
Yeah, he got the Holy Trinity and then back-to-back rockets to close the room, and he'll have that to start Eat My Shrapnel. 123 plays 127, but a mistake for Skunky.
Now a mistake. Let's see if Skunky can recover. Good evasion there on the dying swirl to not die. Sigmafan blocks a broken shrapnel, exploding shrapnel piece there. With
Skunky gets a big break, gets a replacement orb rather quickly, though, so the dropped orb for the time being is not going to prove to be fatal at this point, so the pressure is going to be on Sigma to keep that orb nice and healthy. These rockets will close out the room for her, and more rockets will assure that.
And I gotta say, honestly, Sigma only losing a couple seconds in collect power-ups despite the underwhelming drops. Did a great job, and look at this. Kept it nice and even. Let's see how they do in Total Carnage. Clean escape for Skunky. Sigma's got to watch out. That was close again, but she gets out and gets a razor shield. She a little dicey again, but gets it done. That's what you want to see.
Yeah, been teetering, but hasn't fallen yet. But Sigma does have that all-important razor shield. Meanwhile, Skunky not really getting any drops to start Total Carnage, so Sigma may have an opportunity to cut into that lead.
Not really using it aggressively, which is fine, but with these drops, sometimes you got to use that shield as a weapon. A little risky, but get it done. Now some rockets and spreaders. Good weapons here, Cards.
Excellent weapons here. Back-to-back spreaders now for Skunky. Hey, save him for the Mutoid Man fight. That's what Skunky's probably thinking at this juncture right now. But
and look at that.
Yeah. 301 is going to get Sigmafan the lead. The better quality weapon drops. Skunky now 5 seconds back to a 306. An 8-second swing here as it's time for, Taco Bell product placement with Taco Bell.
I'm actually having some homemade grilled cheese with some soup. It's pretty nice.
Ooh, that sounds really good. Nothing wrong with the old-fashioned grilled cheese and soup. What kind? Tomato, chicken noodle, or something else?
Little minestrone. It's good stuff.
Ooh, minestrone. Very nice. All right. So, nothing to start. Gets an invulnerability for Sigmafan, but what does Skunky get? Also an invulnerability, so these runners are going to have to earn it here. Try to keep control of the middle, try to take the gunners down, but Sigma losing the orb.
Yeah. Sigma overshot the tank coming from above, got a little too concerned about the bullet shot that wasn't even on target.
Oh, but Skunky is taken down, and both gunners are still on the wall for Skunky. Sigma not going to focus on the gunner, but this nuke right there will enable her to take down that second gunner, yes.
And same for Skunky, using a nuke and use the free time to shoot it. So both of them kind of scrambling right now. I think it's going to come down to A, drops, and B, who can scramble. We get a rocket here for Sigma.
This rocket could assure her the lead going into the Muto.
Skunky died though, but hey, gets to use the invulnerability with the rocket, so kind of an advantage technically.
Yeah, we'll see who comes out of this room first. It is still going to be, it looks like, a Sigmafan lead, definitely, with a 4:28. Skunky continuing to bleed a little bit more time, and that lead is going to extend for Sigmafan. It's a 4:36 to about an 8-second lead. That's still only about one empty drop, though.
I'd buy that for $1.
Sigma trying to line up a little bit of that spreader and gets it out and gets the refill. Well played. Let's see if Sigma pops that arm. Oh, gets shot, but to the advantage.
Wow, a perfectly timed death there for Sigmafan. Gets the spreader, is going to get all of that damage in there. Invulnerability, but doesn't see it in time.
Disappointing. Delayed drop, too. It was very gettable. Sigma trying to work the gunner. Meanwhile, Skunky has popped an arm already.
Yep, so Sigma is going to have the lead, but oh, what could have been. That's a fine death because she'll be able to get to those lobbers rather quickly now and focus on trying to get the gunners down. One gunner down. It's about a full form lead right now for Sigmafan as they're both riding lobbers, but Sigma gets run over, does take the second gunner out and gets grenades. So advantage right now, Skunky, as he's riding the lobber train, that consistent damage, a spreader on the feet.
You'll love to see that if you're Sigma. Gets right run over though, so no real advantage, unfortunately.
And is not going to be able to get to that lobber either. A spreader, that's too far away. That's a prime Aquas or Jack spreader though.
That player 2 spreader, we're on the same form here, guard. Still slight advantage to Sigma, but oh, look at this manual from Skunky.
Very nice manuals there, and empty drops back-to-back for both runners. Final form now for Sigmafan. Gonna need at least one more weapon to finish off this fight. Missing a lot of lobbers, though. Final form now for Skunky as well.
This is very tight here. It's a slight Sigma lead, but it's all down to landing those lobber shots. Very difficult.
She's missing a lot of lobber shots, and this could open the door for Skunky to steal this one, and does not have enough to finish it off. Skunky steals it.
Yeah, Sigma just did not have the accuracy required on that final form, and that means Skunky is going to take the W here.
Oh, what a bad break there for Sigmafan, but yeah, better firing, and it's a 3.5-second difference. Skunky up 2-0.
That and Sigma pushing too hard as the invulnerability disappeared with half a set of ammo on that spreader. Huge missed opportunity with that invulnerability sitting on the screen.
So right now, Sigma gonna have to find a way to dig deep and pull off a reverse sweep if she wants to make it to the money rounds. Otherwise, it'll be Skunky48 advancing to a 4th round of our second chance bracket. We'll see if Sigmafan can rebound from a tough, brutal loss there, or if Skunky can complete the sweep and bring out the brooms.
I gotta say, it's been very Jekyll and Hyde for Sigma today. Been very loosey-goosey in Total Carnage, where you shouldn't have too many issues, but has had fairly good tank troubles. I know there was a death in that race, but still, playing tank trouble better than Skunky, putting that experience to work. And as you recall, Sigma was the top moment from the 4th tournament with a great tank trouble, so maybe channeling that a little bit here today.
Oh, definitely. She had the much better tank trouble, and, you know, Skunky did struggle in that second game. The first game, he played it quite well, but that second game just wasn't there. And right now, Sigmafan, again, gonna have to clean up that arena gameplay and just gonna have to have better shots on Mutoy, man, because the drops were there, just didn't utilize them the way that she could have to win that second game. And now Skunky, 3 shots of winning this match. Here we go with game number 3.
We're underway, guys. Let's see if Skunky can finish it out with the sweep. Will Sigma put a little bit of a scare into Skunky? You lose the first one, that's not a big deal, but when it gets tied up at 2 and the old momentum is flowing the other way, that's when you might get a little tight. But you can only win one race at a time, so let's see what happens.
Absolutely here. Let's see what kind of momentum we get to start this room. A chance for Sigma to get a closing nuke here. And let's see if she uses it. Yep, but it is definitely going to be, without a doubt, a Skunky hole shot by quite a bit as well. That's a high 38 for Skunky.
High 38, and Sigma with the location, maybe a little reluctant to play it for some time, didn't want to get stuck, but yeah, that's like a good 3.25 second lead easily.
Oh, definitely here. Nuke to start for Skunky. Sigma's first drop, and opening orb for her.
She needs to play clean here. She needs to press home this advantage. This is where you get that drop. The first thought you have is get it. But you've really got to be thinking, what am I doing to just lock this room down, play clean, build your lead? And she drops the orb. A massive, stupid mistake, quite honestly, with this room. You don't need to chase a spreader when you have that orb.
Absolutely not. And even though she gained time on Skunky, if the game does not give Sigma a replacement orb, she could be bleeding massive seconds. You know, trying to keep this room under control with just the pea shooter there is an invitation for disaster here. Sigma doing her best to keep the Mr. Shrapnels down, but Skunky takes a death.
Oh, a death for Skunky. Very disastrous. Gonna play the nuke. Probably the right call given where the shrapnels were. Gonna take that penalty and gets a replacement.
Wow.
Will Sigma, who is really scrambling and not getting many of these swarmers down, really just getting overwhelmed. Finally sees an orb, has to wait, gets it, a bit of a... Oh my goodness, what are you doing, Sigma?
What in the wild world of sports is going on? And misses the final one as well. I think she might be on tilt, Bri. That's a 5-second deficit she now has going into total carnage. She's got to keep her cool.
Got to keep you cool. All you can do at this point, you gotta forget what happened. It's one of those, you know, you can remember it, but you can't focus on it. But anyway, we are into tank trouble. Like you said, not tank trouble, sorry, total carnage. 5-second lead. We're seeing the razor shield nades on the feet for Skunky. That kind of blows.
Yeah, that sabotage is no bueno. Rockets there for Sigma. Good patience to pick that up. Try to get control of the middle of the room. Oh my goodness gracious. She is playing with fire, Brisulph.
You can play with fire, just make sure you don't have the fire department called on you, I think is how that goes.
Something like that. But yeah, Skunky, yeah, that razor shield is still riding a little bit of that left as we are approaching the end of the room, but Skunky drops the orb late.
Big opening here. Skunky will be out first. It's going to be 308, and it is going to be about the same because it was scrambly, but Sigma carrying the orb into tank trouble. We'll have an extra little bit of ammo in the back pocket just because of having that orb.
Yep, she cut a 1.5 seconds into Skunky's lead, down to about a 3.5 second lead now for Skunky, but more importantly, she has the orb. If she can ride good weapons, try to keep that orb healthy, might have a lead once again going into the Mutoid Man fight. We'll see what happens.
Let's see if Skunky gets a drop. It's a nade. It is usable. Just got to be careful. Not a lot of range. Rockets for Sigma. She's got to be careful, though. Oh, my goodness. That orb is getting danced dangerously.
Absolutely. Once again, playing with fire with that orb. I mean, there's a big fragile sign on it, but it's like, oh, my goodness.
Rockets in the middle. What a drop.
Well, you'll love to see it. More rockets. Not in the greatest of spots, though, but is able to pick them up for a nice refill there, but trying to get control of the middle. Somehow, some way. I don't know how she's doing it, Brisulph, but somehow that orb is still intact. Don't ask me how she's doing it. I have no idea, but what a tank trouble there for Sigmafan, and she has the lead now with a 421.
Using that orb and those rockets to the advantage, Sigmafan dancing dangerously. Dancing in the dark, perhaps, but getting it done. Let's see how the drops are going to line up for Sigmafan.
I'll tell you what, right now, that lead is quite significant.
A snipe! Oh, no!
18 seconds, but yeah, that lead is going to be shrinking considerably after that snipe job there, Brisulph, and that's a late drop of those lobbers right there.
Breathtakingly rare. I think it was because of the pickup and the snipe immediately. There's a global timer they operate on, but that was late. Still, Sigma pops the first body part. There goes an arm. Let's see if Skunky can answer here in short order.
Yeah, trying to get to this lobber here. Sigma is able to do so. First arm pops off, and a good drop here in a great spot if he stays there, which it looks like he is. Skunky has a chance.
Has a chance for sure. We'll be able to get that second arm off. Here's a spreader for both, but can Skunky get to this one? Maybe. It should be good.
Yeah. Sigma with the advantage because gonna get there quicker, but
Lobber on the
sabotaged!
speed and invulnerability for Skunky.
Are
Oh
you
my
kidding?
goodness! What
Are
a set
you
of
kidding?
drops!
Skunky just needs another drop or so, and he's gonna sweep this one, but gets run over, and there's nothing. It's grenades and gonna just get to it. Final form for Sigma.
Can Skunky finish on this nade? Yes. What a wild set of drops to save Skunky. Sigma honestly outplayed Skunky for well over half this match, but man, the mistakes bite you when the Mutoid RNG is being vicious.
Yeah, and Sigma, she really did nothing wrong in that fight. It's just the sabotage, the perfect spreader, just absolutely everything lined up for Skunky48, and it's a clean sweep, and Skunky will be moving on to the 4th round of the second chance bracket. That means, unfortunately, we have to say goodbye to the longtime veteran Sigmafan. Yikes. 2 brutal finishes there for Sigma in games 2 and 3.
I mean, it just goes to show you that you really need to be on top of all aspects of play at this level. Your PB is one thing, but that consistency, that understanding of situational awareness, how things are going for you, it is such a tough road to hoe. You don't want to give the game any advantages, and unfortunately, Sigma, with a few crucial mistakes, opened the door, and the game just said to Skunky, here you go.
Absolutely. I mean, let's face it. Game number 1, she had some jitters, you know. Definitely played better in games 2 and 3. Definitely deserved to have a chance to win both of those games. You know, she could have easily been up 2 games to 1, but that's the nature of the beast, Brisulph.
Like I said, the mistakes you make in this tournament, especially with the competitive nature of the community now and how good everyone is, it's magnified. You've got to limit your mistakes so you can give the game a chance to give you what you need. And unfortunately, Sigma's mistakes ended up costing her today, and she will be leaving the 7th annual tournament.